Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a pair of chickadees. Start by drawing the chickadee on the left side. First, draw a circle as a guide for the head. An easy way to draw a circle is to first make a couple of small marks to indicate the circle's height, and then on the sides make a couple more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then just connect the small marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. You don't have to draw a perfect circle, but if you're having trouble drawing one, just trace the outer edge of a coin, a bottle cap, or anything else with a circular edge. On the bottom left side, draw a bigger circle as a guide for the body. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too. Make this circle about 1.5 times the size of the head. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video as you follow along to draw at your own pace. Draw a horizontal line across the head for a guideline. On the right side of the head, draw a small triangular shape as a guide for the beak. Connect the head to the body using sloping lines to create the guide for the neck. The shape of the neck should be wide. On the bottom left side, draw a long sloping line as a guide for the tail. This line should be about as long as the head and body. At the bottom, draw a curved line as a guide for the lower section of the body. Under the body, draw a couple of short lines as guides for the feet. Add a couple of short curved lines on the bottoms of the feet for the toes. Now draw the guides for the chickadee on the right side the same way. First, draw a circle as a guide for the head. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too. Place this circle a bit lower than the other bird's head. On the bottom right side, draw a bigger circle as a guide for the body. This chickadee will be facing the opposite way, so invert the shapes. Try to make both chickadees similar in size. Draw a horizontal line inside the head for a construction guide. On the left side of the head, draw a small triangle for the beak. Connect the head to the body using sloping lines to create the guide for the neck. On the bottom right side, draw a long sloping line as a guide for the tail. Draw a curved line at the bottom for the lower section of the body. Under the body, draw 2 short lines as guides for the feet. Draw a long sloping line at the bottom as a guide for a branch. Bend the line to match the placement of the feet. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Start with the chickadee on the left side. First, lightly sketch a small circle inside the head for the eye. Place the eye on top of the horizontal construction guide and close to the right edge of the head. When you get the size and position of the eye right, darken the shape. Inside the eye, off to the side, draw a tiny circle for a highlight. In the middle of the eye, draw a small circle for the pupil. Shade in the pupil, but don't overlap the tiny highlight circle. Draw a couple of curved lines around the eye for creases. Darken the top part of the triangle on the right for the first part of the beak. Draw a horizontal line across the shape for the beak's opening. Darken the bottom edge of the guide for the lower section of the beak. Draw a curved line on the left side for the base of the beak. Darken the outer edges of the initial guides to create the shape of the head. Use a series of short strokes as you darken the guides to create a feathery texture. Extend the lines to the left to create the back of the head. Add a few short strokes under the beak for a feathery texture on the throat. Add more short strokes inside the head for the color separation on the feathers. Draw the chickadee's head on the right side the same way. First, draw a small circle inside the head for the eye. Inside the eye, draw a tiny circle for a highlight and a slightly bigger circle for the pupil. Add a few curved lines around the eye for creases. Darken the triangular shape on the left side for the beak. Draw a horizontal line across the shape for the beak's opening. Add a few short strokes on the right side for the feathery base of the beak. Darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the head. Use a series of short strokes to create a feathery texture. Add short strokes inside the head for the color separation on the feathers. Now draw the body for the chickadee on the left side. First, lightly sketch a long sloping line across the body for the folded wing. When you get the placement right, darken the line. Add another sloping line for the top edge of the folded wing. Draw a broken line at the top for a feathery texture. Darken the top part of the initial guide for the other wing. Add a few more short strokes at the top for the separation of the body and wings. Draw a few curved lines inside the first wing for individual feathers. Darken the outer edges of the initial guides to create the shape of the body. Use a series of short strokes along the bottom to create a feathery texture. Draw the tail on the bottom left side using the initial line as a guide. The shape of the tail should be rectangular. Add a sloping line on the right side for a feather. Draw the shape of the leg along the path of the guide on the right. Make the line wider by drawing a parallel line to the guide. Add the toe at the bottom using a curved line. The toes pointing forward will be hidden behind the branch. Draw the leg on the left side the same way. Draw the body of the chickadee on the right side the same way. Start by drawing a long line across the body for the folded wing. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the line when you get the shape right. This chickadee will be facing sideways. Draw another sloping line at the top for the visible section of the other wing. Add a series of curved lines inside the first wing for individual feathers. Darken the outer edges of the initial guides to create the shape of the body. Use short strokes to create a feathery texture. Darken the guide on the right for the tail. Add a few more lines underneath to make the shape of the tail wider. Connect the tail to the body using a short curved line. Draw the legs at the bottom using the initial lines as guides. Make the shapes of the legs thicker than the guides. Draw a few long thin shapes at the bottom for the toes curving forward. Make the tips of the toes thin and pointy for the nails. Draw both legs in a similar way. Darken the line under the chickadees for a branch. Draw another long line to make the branch thicker. Add a few more angled lines along the shape to create more branches. Make each branch wide at the base and narrow at the tip. You can add as many branches as you'd like. Lightly sketch a few curved lines for snow on the branch. Now go over the final lines with permanent ink. The next few steps are sped up so that the video isn't too long, but make sure that you go over your final line slowly and carefully to avoid any accidents. Don't ink the initial guidelines, only the final drawing. Add a few lines inside the wings to create individual feathers. When the ink dries, erase all of the guidelines. Now color your drawing. I'm using markers to color, but you can use colored pencils too. Use black for the heads and the small sections on the throat. Color both birds at the same time so that they look similar to each other. Color lightly at first and gradually move on to darker colors. Use different shades of brown for the top parts of the body. Add a bit of yellow to the undersides of the body. As you color, use strokes that go in the direction of the feathers. Use gray to color the wings and tails. As you color the wings and tails, leave a few thin sections blank for the edges of the individual feathers. Slowly and gradually make the colors darker. Add a bit of gray on the white feathers for shadows. Shadows will give the figures more dimension and volume. Color the eyes brown, but don't overlap the tiny highlight circles. Color the legs using gray too. Color the branch different shades of brown. Use dark shades of brown to create shadows. Draw a few curved lines on the branch to create texture. Add shadows on the snow using a bit of blue. If you'd like, you can add a bit of a blue and gray background to make the figure stand out. Go over the final lines with ink again to emphasize the shapes. Add some falling snow using white ink. Keep coloring until you're happy with the result, and that's it for the chickadees. Remember to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com for more tutorials. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. Let me know in the comments what else you want to see me draw. Don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.